Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nothing Like a Good Book. That's what we feature on this show, all sorts of authors from all over the place, all across America. We're dedicated to authors. That's you. Discovering your book is what we're about. Doesn't matter whether it's a little ebook or, gone with the wind, whatever, doesn't matter. Promoting your book and selling your book would be nice, wouldn't it? Instead of it all in the garage there in piles. Not that everybody is, the lucky ones. Others, have hit a chord with somebody and one thing after another. And good luck to you, but it doesn't matter. When you write, you're writing from the heart, aren't you? You're writing from yourself. You want to get it down on paper. And that's what it's about. So that's what this show is about. And we feature all sorts of people. I've had all sorts of characters on it. Heavy-duty fictions and non-fictions, and we've had children's books and beautiful architecture, and today is no exception. I've got something special. Her name is Cheryl DaVeiga. She grew up in New Jersey, graduated from the University of Arizona, though, in Tucson, where she now lives, building her career in New York and the New Jersey area in the early days. She spent years in accounting, becoming a partner at a national firm, no slouch, before returning to her first love, which is music. And today she's an award-winning author and an ASCAP award-winning songwriter with 7 acclaimed children's books. It's not a bad effort, is it? Eh? Pretty smart lady. So welcome, Cheryl. How you doing?
Hey, Mark. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Interesting. Welcome. You're most welcome. Now,
your introduction reminds me of the long road that it took me to get here.
Really? Why is that? Why is that?
I don't know. All those years in accounting and then finally making our way back to music.
Yeah, because, what we're going to talk about today is a little different because it is coming from the heart. You've got some things to share. Your middle grade series, the Orion Sessions, is what we're all about. It blends music and storytelling about finding your voice, though, right? So Explain a little bit about that to us, if you would.
So the heart of the Orion Sessions series is a young girl who's 13, and her name is Orion. And she gets to that point in life where she starts seeing herself from the outside in, as others see her. And that's something that happens to children, especially girls at the ages of about 8 to 12, when all of a sudden their confidence dips and fitting in matters more than being yourself. And the series starts with a 13-year-old who loves to sing and perform, but the kids make fun of her. And so as a result, she kind of quiets herself and stops singing. And she works backstage in the theater instead of on stage. And then mysterious anonymous messages start coming her way via text. Someone who kind of knows her and sees her beauty and her talent and encourages her. And they're all just signed J. And so Orion, she hopes it's her not so secret crush, Jessie. But from there, the story unfolds.
Okay. So what we've got here is she stopped loving it after the girls and everyone follows start talking about her instead of to her. She's finished performing for everyone. This is book 1 in the series, the Orion Sessions, and that's called Best Friends, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about book 1. How does this come about, Best Friends?
Okay. So as I said, she begins getting these text messages after she's not performing for anyone. And it kind of reminds her of her wonderful singing voice and how much she loves music.
Right.
And they start giving her a confidence that she didn't know she had. And then through a series of friendships, because it's a lot about friendship and identity, she has old friends who support her, but she takes risks that she might otherwise not have taken. And that tends to build her confidence, and it helps her discover her new passion in life, which is songwriting.
I see. Okay. Someone's been watching her, really seeing her, and part of Orion can't help hoping it's the one person she wishes would notice her back. What does that mean?
That means these messages are so encouraging and it feels like somebody really sees her, but she doesn't know who that is. So there's a mystery that falls through the book of who is this person who is encouraging her. And because of the messages, she just takes a path that she might otherwise not have taken. And part of the mystery of the book is, who is Jay?
I see. Okay. Now, all right. So the texts give her confidence that she didn't know that she had, and enough to discover songwriting and begin finding a new way back to music. Is this you?
It's certainly part of me, and I could not have written this book without my own love of songwriting. My discovery of songwriting and then my passion for it happened way later in life, around 10 years ago or so. And I thought, well, maybe I could write about Orion as if I hadn't myself moved away from my love of music and taken a different path. What if I had actually stayed with music and discovered this earlier? So I made her do that.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, people write books for different reasons. There's often messages within them. We're talking about book one of the series, okay, of the Orion series. Now, I'm going to show book two, right?
Okay.
Okay. Look at this. Chewing on a what? Sitting
Pencil.
by the fire.
Pencil,
On a
pen.
pencil.
She's writing in her notebook.
Okay. Okay. It's a nice shot, isn't it? Sitting there by herself, looking with the fire, thinking.
A wonderful illustrator.
Yeah, it's a wonderful illustrator in that case. So the texts give her confidence. But as friendships shift and secrets surface, Orion starts to question everything. The way that you see yourself keeps changing based on who's looking at you. And how do you figure out who you really are? All right, what does that mean?
So in book one, Orion really comes to terms with who she is, and she learns by the end of the book to really shine through her songwriting and cut through some of the walls that she's built for herself. And she does that with help. But when you discover who you are and you find your voice, that sometimes opens some new doors, because when you find your voice and you use it, well, you got to put it out there and people hear it. And so kids today, I think, are faced with a lot when they put themselves out there. They find criticism, misrepresentation, the social media world as it is today. Who can you trust? So in the second book, Orion goes to songwriting camp because now this is her love and she wants to learn everything about it. And she finds out that other people are not so trustworthy, and someone steals her song and puts it out there as if it's their own. And she has to go through the trials and tribulations of, do I speak up when I'm probably not going to be believed? And there's a whole part of this book where she has to determine again. Her voice is found in the first book, and it's stolen in the second book.
So, isn't it cruel? Someone stole the song.
Well, it happens in the world when you put anything out there for the public consumption, right? It happens, and the kids are doing a lot of that kind of piracy and, taking things that aren't their own.
Yeah, a contemporary middle grade series about friendship, identity, and learning what it means to sing and live. But the key being for yourself.
That's right. And I think that's right, Mark. And I think we begin at those ages to lose ourselves, to start seeing ourselves differently. And I
Right.
don't think that ever stops in the rest of your life. I mean, I think it starts there, and we all have a little bit of that, right? Worried about what people say. We're in a
Ah,
world now where you post anything and people criticize you. And it's a lot for kids to handle
it
that
is
kind of
indeed.
pressure.
Yes, it is. In my day, of course, we didn't have the damn social media.
Right,
But
right.
you still get hurt. People say nasty things. You take it home with you. You don't sleep at night. I mean, yeah, I'm a sensitive soul, so consequently, that sort of thing used to bug me as well. But today, it's even worse for kids. And you're really trying to say, look, be yourself here, and this is the idea of the book. Now, number 3, uh, where are we? Here we are. No, that was number 2.
Nope,
Here's number
that's
3. I beg your pardon.
viral,
Okay.
yes.
The Orion Sessions. And speaking of this, she's on a phone.
And she looks a little bit concerned.
So the story behind Viral here.
So the next step, viral, is one of her songs. In fact, I'll give you a little hint. It's the one that got stolen. Goes viral with someone who decides that they're going to tell the world that it's really Orion's song. And with that, Orion becomes a little bit of a mini superstar.
Okay.
And we explore what happens when things can kind of take on a life of their own, and you can lose control when something goes viral. And so people get hurt, other people get drawn into the web, and she has to make some more decisions about who she is and how she's going to deal with these issues.
This sounds like a great series that young girls should read.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
My heart is in it. There's a passion in it that I've not had actually for any of my other books as strongly as I do for this one.
Yeah, we'll talk about them soon too. All the other kids' books you have written. This is, isn't it released in April?
Well, it's
Coming up.
another little secret. It's all out there now. It's all available now on
Okay.
Amazon. Not book 3 is not available yet. So book 1 is available on Amazon or
Right.
on my website. Book 2 is available for the ebook to be pre-ordered.
Right.
And book 3 will come out probably in the fall, but they're all pretty ready to go.
Well, that's nice because, like a trilogy, you want to know when you finish book 1, when is book 2 coming out?
Well, Mark,
when is book
one of the
3?
things about this series that's been accepted well is they're short books. So you can go through them very quickly. So I didn't want to wait too long before releasing 2 and 3 because kids get through them and you want to know what happens next. And the story really does continue.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be out soon. Okay. That's book
It's
3
out.
with Viral. All right. And all righty. So now I want to talk about this. All right. Books
Yes.
for younger readers. What was this? This is the cheese racer and so on. Yeah.
So I guess some of the stuff with me is I just love humor in stories. And I think in the Orion Sessions, there's a little bit of a string of humor that runs through it. And for kids, I started writing songs for kids before I started writing books.
Right.
And it occurred to me at some point that, songs are really little stories in themselves. And if you could write a lyric that tells a story, a lyric is very similar to kids' books because you have to say a whole lot in a very few words.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, why don't I start taking some of these ideas I have for kids' songs and turning them into books? And then I got all excited about that and I started writing them. And one came after another and another. And I ended up with 7 of them, different illustrators, lots of fun. And again, there's music. And we didn't mention the music part of the Orion Sessions too. Because she is a songwriter and there are real original songs.
Yeah, that's right. There are indeed. And where can they be heard? They're within the book, aren't they?
So if there's a YouTube station called the Orion Sessions, where the first song for Best Friends is up, a little bit of a treat for the second song in that book. But the songs really come in books 2 and 3, because in 1, she discovers her songwriting. So there's a book, there's a song with a story video up on YouTube. You can watch kind of the story unfold in the song. The song is called Best Friends.
Right.
And then in books 2 and 3, well, she's discovered she loves songwriting. So in books 2 and 3, she really starts writing. And that's when the original songs all will start coming out.
Oh, fabulous. There you go. So I didn't have that. I have this particular one I've been running. This is the website to go to in reference to purchasing any of these books.
Yes, and you can get to the YouTube station through the website too.
That's
you can get everywhere on
That's
the website.
good.
You can
That's
purchase,
good.
you can go hear the music, everything is there.
Alrighty, that's great. So go here, folks, right? https theorionsessions.com. And that's the website. Have a good look around and read, but there's a link on there for you to be able to hear the songs on YouTube. Isn't that a clever idea, right? Isn't that great? So that's marvelous. And that's the Orion Sessions. And that was the very first book here, but this is where you go here. Now, what else did I want to talk about? I'll leave that up for a second. Yeah. The reason I brought up, we all have previous lives. You were a partner in a national accounting firm. But was it inside you bubbling then that you wanted to write books and songs? I mean, how was it always there?
A wonderful question, because the music, when I look back on it, the music always was a part of who I was, always deeply inside of me. But I never thought I could be a songwriter. In fact, I, like Orion, at some point tried to fit in and quit music and quit piano lessons and quit the flute and quit the choir so I could hang out with the cool kids. And I regret that some. So I've rewritten it for Ryan. And I think that through the years, that's always been there, but it's never been something I thought I could do. And it was because I got started with a children's song when I was with my 7-year-old nephew, Michael. And he had me put on this kids radio station in the car. And I said, Michael, we could write a song better than that. And Michael said to me, we could write a song? And I really didn't think about it at that point. I had written parody songs, but not my own melodies.
Right.
So I said, sure, we can. And we ended up writing this song together. And then, maybe not so coincidentally, a friend heard us singing it and said, I happen to know a producer and you should record that song. So long story short, I met my producer and co-writer, we've been together now 15 years writing. I took it into his studio. He put guitar on it. He put banjo on it. He sang harmonies on it and
mixed it all up. Lovely.
I was hooked. And then I went to every songwriting course there was in New York City, and I decided I'm going to learn how to do this. And then I moved on to adult songs.
Right.
And the rest is history, and I'm still writing. And I don't know how that happened, but maybe it wasn't a coincidence. Maybe it was all in there waiting to come out.
All part of the plan, young Cheryl. All part of the plan. So one of the most unique things about, this series is that it does have a soundtrack, original songs tied to the story. The music, what does it really add, do you think? Well, it adds a lot because it's all built around her writing and singing, but then being closed off and then opening up again. And
the songs are woven.
Yeah.
The songs are really woven into the story. You see where they come from, how they get written, how she co-writes them with other people. So it's other people's stories as well. And it really meshes well. I mean, you can read the books and not hear the music, but you'll see the lyrics and things in the books. But it's a really immersive experience to experience both.
Well, Cheryl, you've said that there comes a time in growing up when lots of girls start to shrink a little. They get quieter. They try to fit in. Why was it important for you, do you think, to write um, to that particular moment?
It was what I had inside of me because I had examined my own life quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I remembered that part of life very distinctly. And when I look around today and I see all of the social media and I see the pressure to wear the right clothes and look beautiful all the time, and I see girls pushing themselves down so that they can fit in and with what everybody else thinks is the right thing. And every
Right.
time I see that, it
You
would
cringe.
bother me. And
Yeah.
so I think this story was in my heart for a long time.
It's all about being acceptance, isn't it? Really,
Yes,
for young
it's
girls. I
about
mean,
acceptance, but how much acceptance do we really need? I mean, are we going to live our lives based on others accepting us? It's a human thing, right? We all want to be accepted and liked,
right. But
but
to what
there's a push
level?
pull there.
Yeah, to what level? And, does it mean that I can't be myself?
Right, right. Or sometimes I lose myself and who am I even, right?
Yeah.
By following another path.
Yes. It got to be true to yourself. And, it's very hard. I mean, how do you stop? How do stop that power of what it has over young people and
I
becoming,
think it's just a
they become
matter. It's always
bulimic.
going to be there. What's that?
They become bulimic, don't they? They try
Right.
so
There's
hard.
there's all kinds of things that people feel the pressure for. And I think all we can do as parents, hopefully model for our children. They watch us, right? So, if we're complaining about our body and our image and this and that, they see that no matter what you say. So it's a matter of having stories like this that they can read and they can feel themselves in someone else and say, hey, I'm not alone here. And look how she believed in herself. So it's telling them, it's showing them,
Right.
it's
Right.
telling them about the media, showing them the media and letting them learn that the media is controlling a lot of this stuff and your friends are following that and you don't have to follow everything. It's just an ongoing
Have a
thing.
mind
There's
of
no
your
one
own.
thing you can do.
That's about it. Listening to this story, it really does, feel personal. There was a version of you that stopped singing when you were younger.
There was.
Really, as you've shared, this is to help others, but coming from you, what you went
Yes.
through. One of
Yeah.
the most unique things about the series, thinking about it, having a soundtrack is amazing when you think about it, because learning with music has been proven to work in a lot of good ways. The right music can do wonderful things, and I would recommend to people. I'm sorry, we have something up on the YouTube, but it's very simple. You go here, folks. In case you missed it before, go to this address down at the bottom here, right? The orionsessions.com. When you go to that website, there is a special link on it. And if you click on that link, it'll take you to all the songs from the Orion Sessions on YouTube. All right, so don't forget that. You've said there comes a time in growing up when lots of girls start to shrink a little. They do get quieter. They try to fit in. Why was it important for you to write that moment in this series? You really went through this, right?
I absolutely went through it and I see it every day. And I had actually a bunch of seventh graders read this story as part of a book club in a middle school. And it was so interesting when we talked about, they read the first book and they're now into the second one, but I met with them and it was so interesting to hear
Right.
them share their own stories and how they opened up and told some of their very own stories that how they could relate to Orion. And I thought, there is this whole thing in middle schools now called social emotional learning that is part of their curriculum.
Right.
And I think that is so important because it covers these kinds of things. So these kids are more educated than I was at that age. I wish I had a book like that, like these at my age.
Right.
But they were incredibly accepting, and I could see in them some of the resilience that I don't think I had at that age.
These kids, the real students in the classroom that you talked about, what a surprise. And I guess for you, it would have been a nervous time wondering how they were going to respond.
Yeah.
The
worst part is having a kid read your book.
Yeah, greatest judges ever, let's face it.
And they are brutally honest.
As the series continues, it goes deeper into things like identity, social pressure, the impact of social media, which we've touched on that. How did that side of the story evolve, actually?
It's the natural continuation, right? You are hiding, and then you put yourself out there, and then what happens? You get beat back down again. And you have to keep coming back. It's like that resilience. You got to keep on coming.
Keep on coming. Your background is pretty diverse: accounting, songwriting, children's books. Is there a thread, Cheryl, do you think that connects at all?
Mark, I would say maybe the thread is just connection with people. I really love connecting with people. When I saw kids laughing at my children's books, it just warms my heart. When I see people connecting through music, music is just so powerful. And, I feel like it's my way of connecting.
Okay. That's fair enough. It's a nice way of doing it too. That's why you became an author. An author can do this. You could share, write, all sorts of things.
You can make up anything you want.
My word, you can. And Orion's journey, where does it go next?
I've been thinking about that, and the book series itself kind of grows. She's 13, and then summer, and then she goes to high school in Viral. So it actually grows a bit in maturity. And I would love to take it to the young adult version yet and be able to share a little bit more
of
that
way.
It's a good idea.
It's like
we'll see how this series goes.
It's following her life, isn't it? You know what I mean?
We could. We could just keep going.
She's a teenager. Maybe she can become a Miley Cyrus or something. You know what I mean?
Hannah Montana.
Yeah, Hannah Montana.
I would love that. I do want to mention one thing. Yesterday, the audio book came out, and it's the first time I've ever had an audio book. So this is pretty cool for me. Yeah. And so Best Friends is now also available on audiobook. And this wonderful narrator, Jessie Valinsky, she is an award-winning voice actress in LA. And she reads it and puts personality into it. And then the Best Friend song plays at the end. But it's I don't know much about audiobooks, but this one came out pretty great.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Good to hear. Very popular today. In fact, just about, you should be doing, every author should be doing an audiobook.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it's on Audible, right?
Yes, on Audible.
Okay, and the link there to that as well.
So if you go to the Amazon page, you can buy it in ebook, paperback, or Audible. On the Orion Sessions Best Friends.
So let's make that clear. See this down here, the orionsessions.com, folks, the orionsessions.com. That's where you can buy everything, because what that does
you'll find links to Amazon and everything, yes.
Straight to Amazon. That's what it does. Boom,
yes.
You're there, okay? Now, everybody's different. Some just love ebooks to read, Some like hardcovers, soft covers in between, but you've got the audio book you can go to now.
Yeah.
The orionsessions.com. Well, fascinating. Absolutely. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you, Mark.
Because I
appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, it's worth it. You're most welcome. I love different books. There's another author I have. He's very clever, and he's got a beautiful series enchanted stories and so on, and lovely, little in the forests, and unicorns and little fuzzies flying around and lovely characters. And there we go. So, yep.
Wonderful.
Writing stories that reflect real middle school dynamics and how music and storytelling can help kids reconnect with confidence and self-expression. They're critical, important things when you are young that shape you and base you for the rest of your life. Cheryl DaVeiga, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. The Orions. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. We'll see you again when she's a teenager.
That's right.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Nice, different, warm, dedicated to authors, all right, discovering your book. People ring me up, they email and say, look, do you charge and all this jazz? Well, you've got to understand something. Podcasting isn't cheap to a degree, particularly if you're a professional. And I am, because I've been doing it and on air now 40 years, radio, television, and podcasting. I pre-test before we go on air, and that's an insistence. Those that won't do it, goodbye. We don't do an interview. Simple as that. Secondly, I pay people to do certain things, good editing, fix up all the blues, but more importantly, then the work starts. It's called publishing. Okay, so we've got to go social media everywhere that we can, vision, but not just vision, audio. So audios that are taken from these shows go on lots and lots of platforms that go across the country. In fact, they go global. So you see, there's a lot more to it. Then there's skinny things made. The shorts, they've got to be made. Then I pay somebody else to do that as well. So, everything's not for nothing in life. And I get very, very upset with myself and sad when I've got to say to somebody, look, I'm very sorry. At least I've got to have what it costs me. Never mind that I don't make anything as a business. Okay, I don't mind giving, but understand that there are charges. Go to my site, nothinglikeagoodbook.com. It's not a scam. I hate scams. I'm trying to get legals to come on, but lots of them don't have the guts to do so. That's pretty sad, really, because all they want to do is stop a lot of the bad people, the bad actors they're called. Bad name for that. I just did a movie and I don't like being called a bad actor. But seriously, you know what I'm trying to say. And there are a lot of nasties out there. You do have to be careful what you're being charged. There are genuine publishers. There are very good publishers, and there are very good marketers and honest marketers. Then there's a lot of baddies. So I ain't one of them. Go to my site, nothinglikeagoodbook.com. You can read all about me and all about what we're doing and how we're helping people and all sorts of stuff. We even make movies for authors that would like to have a screenplay of their book and a movie made. Very cost effective compared to Hollywood, I can assure you. Alrighty, so there you go. I've had my bit, what do they call it? Housekeeping. Have a great night, week, day time till we see you again. And I look forward to that. But in the meantime, you've got to be, as I always say, try to be kind.